AOL code, text and turned gold. Now the stories unfold. From dial-up dreams to LinkedIn kings, he taught the world how to build through strings. It's the Max method, no guessing, just growth. 4 steps deep, he's coached them both. Top earners, big burners, trainers and pros. Max lit the fire, now everyone knows. Started with a spark, now the blueprint's live. Thousands trained and they multiply. From Facebook chats to LinkedIn leads, he plants the seeds, then watches them succeed. Mentor to coach is the guide for the great. Author, speaker, shaping fate. You don't just follow Max, you duplicate. That's how legends elevate. It's the Max method, built to last. Social selling, scaling fast. Call him the father, the go-to name. Max Steingart, he changed the game.
Hey, good morning. I am back. And I see 2 of my favorite people are on here. Joseph and Linda. It's been an interesting it's been an interesting 2 weeks, but knock on wood. Back just a kind of let me switch screens here. I still remember how to do that. Here we go. So I hope both of you have been well. I'm going to open up the microphone in a minute. Basically, what happened was I went out for lunch with my wife and another couple, and I had a pressure on my chest, and I told my wife I want to go home, and she said, "What is it?" And I said, "Well, I feel a little uncomfortable in my chest." So she says, "We're going to the hospital." I said, "No, we're not." She said, "Well, you're not going home. We'll go to a clinic." So I went to a clinic, and they took my blood pressure. It was 250. They said, you belong in a hospital. Your blood pressure is so high, you could have a stroke. So I went to the hospital, and my best friend is married to the former mayor of Aventura. In fact, my brother introduced the 2 of them when they were in high school. And Enid is on one of the directors of the hospital. So we called her up and we said, "Listen, we're going to the hospital." And she called ahead, told them that I was her husband's cousin. And I want to tell you, I felt like the governor of Florida. There was the way they treated me, the way they attended to me, was amazing. So they take my blood pressure, put me in a room. They told me I must have seen 4 doctors, and this on a Sunday afternoon. And they scheduled me for surgery on Monday morning. And it turns out that the doctor that was working on me is like the #1 cardiologist in the state, as opposed to getting, an intern. But the funny thing was, when I got back, I was in surgery for about maybe 90 minutes. They ended up putting 4 stents in my arteries to open them up. And when I get back, I'm back in my room. A doctor comes in and says, "Hi, Mr. Steingart, my name is Dr. Phillips, and I am the hospital's geriatric physician. Geriatric. Where did that come from? And anyway, the surgery went great. Then I just had to work on getting my blood pressure down and finding the right, the right medicines. The fascinating thing was that, you know, I had no access to a computer, no access to, basically anything. Thankfully, my staff, absolutely fabulous. In fact, I had someone that worked for me for a long time who retired, who called up and volunteered to help if anybody needed anything. So I had to literally wait for my blood pressure to go down. And I couldn't get my blood pressure to go down because I'm thinking about my business. And but anyway, they found the correct medication. I went to the doctor yesterday, and knock on wood, my heart muscle is as good as it was 5 years ago. Everything is working right. I clearly have to exercise more, and but I am back. Something very, very interesting that now normally, our July boot camp starts tonight, and we're going to go. There's so many new things. I'm reformatting this particular boot camp, and what we're going to do is I'm changing things up because I want to give everybody an opportunity to take advantage of taking some activity that's going to result in conversations. And one of my favorite strategies for people to change your picture. And when someone's new, they change their picture and they hear from so many people. Well, I ended up sending out a notice on Facebook and LinkedIn about my heart attack. And I have to tell you, I am humbled. I'm blown away by the people that I heard from, the calls that I got. I've actually resurrected conversations from people that I haven't talked to in maybe 10, 15 years. So don't suggest announcing that you have a heart attack as getting people to send you a message and engage. But it's kind of fascinating. So let me take a look. And let's look first at, let me unmute Linda, ladies first, and then we'll unmute Joseph.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Linda. So how's everything going?
Well, it's going very well. I got back in. I had to reset my password, which you do not have. And things are just, I've missed you terribly. I'm so glad to have you back.
Well, I got to tell you something. Three of my favorite people are on here right now, and I've really missed this. One thing that I absolutely have to do is, and I recognize that, is I have to exercise more. And so my wife and I are having a little discussion because we have a gym, a beautiful gym, but it's in a separate building, which means I got to take the elevator down, walk a quarter of a block, go into the gym. And before we were married, I had a treadmill in my apartment. So, and they're not expensive. I mean, I could pick up a folding treadmill for $400, which is what I'm inclined to do because if I want to exercise, I'll just turn around, jump on the thing, do it for 20 minutes, and then I can go back to doing what I'm doing. Let's take, let me go over and let's take a look at,
You
I,
do not have my pass. You don't have my password, and we don't want to put in the wrong one.
no, for sure. No, I'm not gonna, I'm not, unless if there's something that, you want me to look at, then I'm gonna need your password. And
Right.
what you can do is you could text it to me on my phone, and
Okay.
I'll jump in, or we could do a session. But the important thing is that you're back,
Oh,
and
yes, absolutely.
and and now what I'm gonna do tonight in boot camp. I'm gonna ask everybody in boot camp to send you a connection request. And so you're going to hear from people that are not necessarily going to be prospects for you, but it kind of enhances your legitimacy because, as opposed to you just reaching out to people, contacting people, it's going both ways. And that goes a long way towards, again, establishing the fact that you're a real person. And you know, the levels of security, internet security, are changing all the time because there's so much fraud. There's so many bad actors on here, and man, you just have to put up with it, and because it's in everybody's best interest. You want me to jump into your account, or we can do it later?
Let's do it later.
Okay, okay. So, let's just look. So right now you're up to 301 connections. Let's look at. See, this is the most important activity, is putting things out there that people can see, that people can like, and this is where the action is. Because the more you do this, easier it's going to get. The more you do this, more people are going to share it. They're going to like it. One of the things, so every time you do something, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to like this one. And again, that gives you more credibility. How's your project coming along? Pretty well.
My project.
Well, yeah, from the standpoint of, I know you,
Oh, getting ready.
yeah, good.
We're closer, really close. And I am where Japan is open, and I am actively looking in Japan. The
Good.
first the first that message that you saw, I timed it to go out this morning. I have been in contact with this gentleman because I had a personal interest. And when he put this out, I commented on it and I forwarded this out today. I saw
Mhm.
this when he first put it up. And he has been in touch with me. He's a teacher in Japan and had a daughter that was biracial and was being bullied in school. And he developed a whole program for Japan and teachers and schools. And he talks about what he did. Well, I have an autistic grandson. I understand bullying in school. And so and he has been in contact even when I commented on this online before I put it out, which I'd already scheduled. He commented and said, "Thank you so much." And it was just lovely.
Yeah. Now, Okay, so right out of the gate, you have to understand that he knows all about network marketing because he's been teaching since 2011. And somebody that he worked with probably told him about it. An interesting an interesting note. Okay, so here he was in Canada. Then he goes to teach in Czechoslovakia, Prague. Then he's in Japan. And so, just a natural part of a conversation, aside from the fact, well, it looks like it looks like he's originally from, it's hard to say where he's from, but how did he end up in Japan? You know, Natural conversations like that really go a long way. People love talking about themselves. And again, it's always going to come down to making a difference. So,
11 o'clock?
and yeah, so I mean, so this is all good. And this again could be, how do you end up in Japan? Another thing you might want to ask them, because he stopped, remember, people put on their profile what they want to talk about. So he's doing this, but what else is he doing? Is he still teaching? People put on their profile what they want to talk about, not necessarily everything that they do. So let me, we'll jump back on the schedule and then we'll get you going. We'll see you tonight. Let me come down here to Joseph.
Hey, Max, good to see you back.
Hey, good morning. Oh,
Um,
listen, I am, I think the most frustrating thing, and I know exactly how, Linda felt about, not being on LinkedIn and getting locked out. So I'm in the hospital and I just have my cell phone and I don't like doing a lot. I'll text on my cell phone, but I won't do any other things because the screen's too small. And sales are coming in on my websites and they were accumulating in one account. And I have an assistant, most of the time it's me, that I transfer the money over to the company's operating account where all of our bills come in. So I'm freaking out on Tuesday because I know I'm getting checks presented and I've got no way to make any deposits. So I figured out by Wednesday, unless I start making some deposits over there, I'm going to be in an overdraft situation. So Wednesday, I called the bank and I told them, I said, listen, I'm in the hospital and I have no way to get to the bank to do any of these things. I just want you to know. Well, there's no way, I ended up, I think, with 60 overdrafts. And
oh my God.
yeah, well, the bank told me that they're not going to charge me. They're going to waive it. Yes, they charged me $10, an overdraft. But the other pain in the neck is that some of the vendors that I'm hooked up with, if you don't pay, they suspend your account until you pay. And I didn't have any passwords or anything. And just thinking about that, raised my blood, kept raising my blood pressure. So the good, and then I had a very similar situation that Linda had trying to get back in with LinkedIn because when I was able to get, my passwords and everything and go back to the bank, I'm trying to figure out a way to transfer money. And there was always an issue. Because I'm setting up something new and the security things that they put me through, royal pain in the ass. And finally, I just said, you know what? It is what it is. You have to recognize what you can do and what you can't do. So what we're going to do tonight in boot camp is we're literally going to take a different, again, because what are we looking at? We're at the end of the month. So tonight in boot camp, what we're going to do, this is really a late start. So we're going to go hot and heavy right up until the last day of the month. And tonight, I'm going to move things around and I'm going to literally jump in and give everybody right out of the gate, as soon as we start talking, we're going to be talking about 6 things that people can do to their profile that will generate immediate reactions and responses with it. I'm not talking about having a heart attack, but it could be changing your picture. LinkedIn has some amazing things that all of you can do. At the end of the day, we want to get everybody talking to people. So where, normally it's create, then next week it's connect, then communicate and close. Tonight, we're getting into part of the creation process, the changes that everybody can make that will trigger reactions and responses from everybody that you're connected to. And we're going to address the general negative perception out there that people have about network marketing. People don't like, their perception is, I don't like network marketing because I don't want to have to sell to my friends. And so we're going to address that tonight too, so that before everybody rushes in to talk about their business, we want to know, what does the other person do? And I am going to totally demolish anybody's perception or fear of talking about network marketing. When somebody tells you they've been there, done that, tried that, your natural reaction is going to be, I talk to people all the time that tell me that. So what was your story? And what companies were you with? What did you try? You get them to open up, and you're doing it in a non-promotional way. Hey, listen, I'm on here, I'm looking to expand my network, meet people. What happened? What companies were you in? And get their story. And then you're perfectly positioned to come back and say to people, I talk to people like that all the time. And network marketing has changed dramatically since you did that. And sometimes, their network marketing experience was last year. In which cases, network marketing doesn't work that way. Most of the people that I talk to that had your experience primarily failed because they were misdirected or they weren't trained properly. Because anybody can be successful in network marketing. You need 3 things. Number 1, you need to be passionate about the company that you're working with, passionate about the products to the point that you would tell people about them even if you weren't getting paid. Okay? And so generally, when people get into a network marketing company, that's why they do it. Because they see an opportunity to generate income. Number two, and this is what I'm missing in most people's experience, you have to be working with somebody that is successful. You have to be working with somebody that knows how to build the business on social networks like LinkedIn and Facebook. And they have to be committed to helping you succeed, helping you build a team. And the third thing you need is good online tools to do it. And of course, numbers 2 and numbers 3, they didn't have. And that's the primary reason why they weren't successful. And in some cases, the more times they've tried network marketing, the easier it is for them or for you to show them your business. Because you're going to show them how you have the answer, you have the solution to their problem. And would they be open to looking at what you're doing? Now, it's easy to get someone to say yes. And the more of an answer you get, in other words, if someone says okay, or if they say sure, you don't know whether they're being serious or they're just being polite. But when they just write in a couple of extra words, like I'd really like to, I'd really like to know. In fact, I remember last year I was working with a coaching student, having great conversation. And so we asked, would you be open to looking at what I'm doing? And this was somebody that really needed to get into something. I mean, he hadn't worked in over a year. And he was, with his experience, a great prospect. Would you like to know what I'm doing? And the guy writes back, sure. And so we were having a little fun that day. And so what I did was I sent the emoji, the yellow emoji where the image is scratching their head. And the word underneath was, huh? So I sent that emoji over first. Huh? After learning so much about you, to be honest with you, I would have expected an answer, with a little bit more enthusiasm, as opposed to, okay, sure. And I remember the person I was working with was, really, we're doing that? I said, yeah, because you have what they need. You have what they want. And your time is valuable. Your time is important. So I sent that over, and the person wrote back a paragraph and a half. And so any of that, my friends, the second half of 2025 is going to be everybody's year. LinkedIn is making all kinds of changes. I was working with somebody before I got sick, and we went to sign them up for the 30-day free trial. It became a 7-day free trial. I don't know if they're continuing to do that. I guess I'm going to find out after tonight's boot camp. But it is what it is. The thing that I want all of you to remember is the biggest challenge that everybody has in network marketing: leads, finding people to talk to. And we're seeing more and more promotions for these artificial intelligence systems that, they're going to do everything for you. And There's nothing simpler, there's nothing easier than what you're learning. Let me say hello to Paul. Sometimes it's easy to get to him. I think he's in Nova Scotia or someplace, and he jumps into these to catch what's new. He's been a long-term student, and I deal with my wife that I need to shut things down for a while. Joseph, I'll call you later, and
Okay.
we'll set up a time when we can. Okay, so
Perfect. Thank you.
he has a
Yeah,
problem
good day.
with his audio. Yeah, I'll call you after 12. I'm confined. Anyway, I'm back.
It's more that important that you take it easy for a while and get
Well,
better.
no, I'm gonna take it easy, but I don't consider this work. You know, it's not like I'm lifting anything heavy, but yeah, I plan on it. So I will catch up to all of you. And we're going to try to help everybody close out the month, even though we've got we're about 20. We don't have a lot of time, but we're going to put it to good use.
It's the Max Method, built to last. Social selling, scaling fast. Call him the father, the go-to name. Max Steingart, he changed the game.